Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, going to be taking a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings for Monday, November the 21st. We do have 8 games tonight, so decent sized Monday slate. As always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 8 games. I'm going to give you my quick early thoughts on the slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Sunday night. Before we do get started with the breakdown though, as always, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, please hit that like button down below. I always do appreciate the likes, and hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also, if you're new to the channel, check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks is a player prop based DFS site. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of PrizePicks, but if you haven't heard of PrizePicks, get signed up over there. Use promo code NOAH when you do sign up for PrizePicks, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. And like I said, PrizePicks is a player prop based DFS site. Very simple, very easy to use. You're just picking more or less on a player's projection. Obviously, I'm making this video the night before, making this video on Sunday night, so there's really not many props up yet for Monday's NBA slate. But if you take a look at the NBA board on Monday, sometime in the afternoon, you'll see a bunch of props available from all the games, and you can, again, take a look at their board, see if there's anything that stands out to you. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. You have to make at least 2 picks, or you can make up to 6 picks, and you can now win up to 25x your money over on PrizePicks. You can mix and match sports as well. You can do multi-sport entries. Obviously, we have Monday Night Football going on, so for Monday Night Football, you can take a look at if there's any props you like for Monday Night Football. I know the World Cup is going on, so all my soccer folks, if you if you're following the World Cup, PrizePicks has props up for the World Cup. So there's a ton you can do on PrizePicks, a ton of sports available. You can mix and match sports. It's a lot of fun. You guys need to be playing over there. If you're not signed up for PrizePicks yet, get signed up. Use promo code NOAH, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through Monday's 8-game slate, guys. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Hawks and the Cavs. So we do want to mention, we do have some teams on back-to-backs today. Some of these teams did play on Sunday. The Cavs are one of those teams. The Cavs played on Sunday, and then I think there's a few more teams that played Sunday. The Warriors played on Sunday, and then Miami played on Sunday as well. So I think we got 3 teams on a back-to-back today, if I'm doing my math correctly. I think if I looked at the board and remember everyone that was playing Sunday, 3 teams on back-to-backs. Cleveland is one of them. So we'll definitely need to pay attention to Cleveland's injury report for today. Kevin Love was out on Sunday. We'll have to see if he plays for Monday's game. And then Karis LeVert got injured in Sunday's game and did not return. So there's a chance Karis LeVert could be out today. But starting off, at the top of the board, looking at the most expensive options in this game, you got Trae Young for $9,900, DeJounte Murray for $9,300, Darius Garland $9K, Donovan Mitchell $9,100. We'll start off with the Atlanta guards. Obviously this is not the best spot against Cleveland. Cleveland's been one of the better defensive teams in the league this year. They got the 3rd best defensive rating. In terms of pace, I know Cleveland's been kind of a slow-paced team. They're actually 29th in pace. So this is definitely one of the, it's probably one of the worst matchups you can get going up against Cleveland. So I don't think it's the best spot for Trae Young or DeJounte Murray, but obviously both these guys have upside. I think they're priced about right, maybe a little overpriced for this matchup. I think given the slight savings, I might prefer DeJounte over Trae. But neither one of the Atlanta guards I'm super excited about today. I don't really think I'm going to have much exposure to them at all. And if I usually just play one lineup in NBA, and I doubt they would crack my one lineup. And then you have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. $9K for Garland, $91 for Mitchell. I'm not super into either one of these guys. I think if I had to pick one of the Cleveland guards, I do prefer Donovan Mitchell. I think $9,100. Mitchell still has the upside to pay off this price tag. Obviously we saw Garland be really underpriced for a lot of the season. DraftKings was really slow to price him up, but now they finally have priced him up to where he should be priced at. He's $9K now. I mean, you need 50 plus DraftKings points from Garland to be worth the salary. Does he have that kind of upside? Absolutely. But I think playing with Donovan Mitchell, his upside isn't as high. I think it's going to be harder for him to get those 55, 60-point games when he's playing with Mitchell. So if I'm paying up for someone in this game, it's probably Mitchell, but I'm not super excited about many of the pay-up options here. You have Evan Mobley. You got the bigs in the mid-range. I mean, Mobley, Capella, Jared Allen, John Collins. Mobley, I think it's $7K. I'm not that interested in. I think Jared Allen is $6,700. I'd rather go to. Allen's he's been a better per-minute producer than Mobley this season. I know Mobley's production has definitely started to trend up. Obviously, he had a great game against Charlotte in a really good matchup. I think this matchup against Atlanta is fine for Mobley, but I think Jared Allen at $6,700 I'd probably rather go to. I know on a point-per-minute basis this season, Allen is averaging slightly more fantasy points per minute than Mobley, I do believe. $6,700 for Allen. He's a guy that can pay off this price tag relatively easily. He can get you a double-double. He's a good shot blocker. The matchup against Clint Capella against the Hawks, I think, it's okay. I mean, Capella's not a big that I think's terrible defensively. He's a solid defender, but I think Jared Allen's just one of these guys that can kind of do it in any matchup. Like, he can get it done regardless of the spot. He's a guy that can get you 20 points, 12 rebounds, 13 rebounds, basically in any spot. So I'm fine with Jared Allen. I think Capella at 6,700, tougher spot for him. Not super interested in Capella at that price tag. I will say, though, that this Cleveland team does play big. You know, they're usually going to have one of Mobley, Allen, or Kevin Love on the floor at all times, assuming Kevin Love plays. So I think this is a spot where Capella's minutes will be pretty safe. Just think the price tag doesn't make him that appealing. And then like John Collins, I know his production's been way down lately. He's probably going to have a good game at some point. At 5,600, he does feel a little cheap, but I'm not really that interested in John Collins here. And then if Kevin Love plays, not really interested in him. Karis LeVert, now that he's coming off the bench, I'm not super interested in either, even if he plays today. And there's really nothing else I'm liking in this game. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about the Magic and the Pacers. So for the Pacers at the top, you got Tyrese Halliburton at 9,400. I do believe these teams did just play on Saturday. Halliburton had a really big game against Orlando, 34 minutes, had a double-double, 22 points, 14 assists, also had 4 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. 9,400 I think is kind of an appropriate price tag for Halliburton, especially for this matchup. But the upside is definitely there. We know he's a guy that can do everything when he's on the floor. He can stuff the stat sheet. He's playable on the slate, but Halliburton's not a guy that I feel like I would be building around. And then we'll need to keep an eye on the status of Wendell Carter Jr., so he is questionable for this game. He did not play in their matchup on Saturday. Bol was pretty solid once again, 34 minutes, 42 DK points. I think he would be a big beneficiary if Wendell Carter is out. And then we did see Mo Bamba get the start on Saturday. He played 33 minutes, had 40 Draftkings points. Obviously, I didn't really play any DFS on Saturday. I was out of the house Saturday, so I didn't even know Mo Bamba had a huge game. But I did play Mo Bamba the last time Wendell Carter Jr. was out. I think it was last Friday against Minnesota. Or it might have been Wednesday or something. I can't remember. Basically, last time I played Mo Bamba when Wendell Carter Jr. was out, he was pretty mediocre. 25 DK points, 29 minutes. Of course, I don't play any DFS on Saturday. Mo Bamba has a massive game, and go figure. 5,800, he did get priced up, but I think Mo Bamba would still be in play here if Wendell Carter's out. Same with Bol. The rest of the Orlando guys, I'm not that interested in. Like Franz Wagner, I think is 7,200 is priced correctly. Jalen Suggs at 6,300, I think is priced correctly. On these or on the other side with some of these Pacers guys, tougher spot for Miles Turner. I know the Magic have been pretty good defensively against bigs this year. They've been a really good rebounding team. I don't think this is the best matchup for Miles Turner, but he's a guy that has upside, and obviously in this Pacers offense, he's going to be one of their kind of lead usage guys. But I'm not running to roster Turner in the spot. I think Buddy Hield at 6,700 feels priced about right as well. And I don't see too much else I'm really liking here. I mean, in general, this is not a game I have a ton of interest in, but I definitely think Halliburton and GPPs make some sense. And then if Wendell Carter Jr. is out, I do have interest in Bol and Mo Bamba, because obviously those are the two guys that really benefit, if Wendell Carter doesn't play. But that's it for this game. I think we can go ahead and talk about the next one, the Celtics and the Bulls. So another game that I'm just really not that interested in. We have two teams who are really tough to gauge when they're fully healthy. Like, obviously, Jason Tatum has massive upside. Jaylen Brown has massive upside. But when these guys are both healthy, I don't really go out of my way to play either one of Tatum or Brown, especially when they're priced where they are. I mean, Tatum is 10,600. I know he's been really good this year, but 10,600 is a pretty steep price tag for Tatum. I mean, he's starting to reach, he's on the same level as guys like Giannis and Steph Curry, and obviously Tatum can put up just as many fantasy points as those guys, but I think I'm more likely to spend my salary on guys like Giannis, Curry, who we'll talk about later. So I'm not super interested in Tatum today at this salary. I think Jaylen Brown at 8,500, he's okay, but I'm not running to roster Jaylen Brown at this price tag. If I had to pick one of Tatum or Brown, I think I would take the $2,100 in savings and go with Brown. But then the Chicago guys, like these Bulls guys, I'll be honest, I never play them when they're all healthy. I know DeRozan's had some good games this year, but it's just so tough to predict when DeRozan, Vooch, Levine, when these guys are going to have good games when they're all playing together. Obviously, whenever one of them's out, obviously there's some beneficiaries there, but when they're all healthy, it's just tough to predict which one of the main Chicago guys is going to have a good game. Obviously, this is not the best matchup against Boston. DeRozan 7,900 does feel a little bit too cheap for the upside that he has. I think Vooch is in a good spot. Boston has been a team this season that has been able, you can beat Boston down low. They haven't been as stout defensively against bigs. And we did see Vooch put up 48 Draftkings points in 35 minutes against Boston earlier this season. Also had 54 DK points in 31 minutes against them. So Vooch has really done well against the Celtics this season, and it kind of makes sense just because without Robert Williams, this team will struggle kind of with their interior defense. So Honestly, if I had to go to one of the Chicago big three, I think Vooch would be my favorite if I had to pick one. And then the other plays in this game, I'm not really that interested in. Derek White's been playing really well lately, but a lot of that has had to do with Marcus Smart being out. Now that Marcus Smart's back, not super interested in White or Brogdon. And Smart at 6K, I think is priced correctly. Al Horford has shown some flashes of upside lately. Had a pretty good game against OKC, pretty good game against Denver. Against Chicago earlier this season, he wasn't great, but he's been playing pretty good minutes. 34 minutes last game against the Pelicans. He's been getting about 32, 34 minutes in close games. At 5,700, he's okay. I don't think Horford's out of play. I think he is viable today. But in general, this is not a game I'm really that interested in. I don't see a ton that I'm loving here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Talk about the Knicks and the Thunder. So for the Thunder, you got OKC you got SGA at the top for 10K. SGA been on another level this season. Usage rate has been sky high. He's been scoring a ton. His just fantasy point per minute production has been incredible. The price tag at 10K does feel, what it should be. I thought DraftKings was really slow to price up SGA. There was days when he was 8,900. There was a day when he was 9,200. SGA's definitely been too cheap lately. Now that he's 10K, I think this is kind of where he should be priced. But clearly, he still has the upside to be worth 10K plus. 62 DK points against Washington, 59 against Boston, 63 against the Knicks. He obviously had a really good game against the Knicks earlier this season. SGA has been able to crush, no matter what the matchup is. His usage rate's just been so high. He's been running the show, taking a ton of shots. Ball's been in his hands a ton. I still think SGA is in play today. I think he is one of the stronger pay-up options if you're looking for someone to spend up for. And then on the Knicks side, with guys like Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, OKC's not a team that you really worry about much defensively. So far this season, OKC's been playing at a really fast pace. In terms of defensive rating, defensively, they've actually kind of been solid. They've been about middle of the pack in defensive rating, but I still think it's a pretty good spot for a guy like Julius Randle. He was pretty solid against OKC earlier this year. He's 8,400, which I think is a correct price tag, but definitely there's upside available for Randle in this matchup. I think the same could be said for Jalen Brunson as well. But I don't see a ton else I'm really liking in this game. We'll say that Mitchell Robinson's expected back today, and man, this is such a good matchup. OKC has just been so bad defensively this year against bigs. We've seen the Thunder just get killed by opposing centers. Mitchell Robinson did play on Sunday. It looks like they had a game against the Knicks Sunday. I forgot they had a day game. And Mitchell Robinson only played 17 minutes, so we'll have to see if, since he's coming back from injury, we'll have to see if he plays here on the back-to-back. Obviously, only playing 17 minutes is a little concerning. But if we can get full minutes from Mitchell Robinson in this matchup, he definitely has the upside in this matchup just with how much the Thunder suck against centers. If by some chance Mitchell Robinson sits because it's a back-to-back, then maybe we could look to a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein. I know Hartenstein really hasn't done much as of late, even when he's been starting. His minutes haven't been super good, but if he were to start again, if Mitchell Robinson were to sit, since it is a back-to-back, maybe we could look to Hartenstein because the matchup is so good. But there's not really anything else I'm loving in this game. Poku and Trey Mann out for OKC, but OKC's a team that just runs such a deep rotation. They play a lot of guys that I don't know if it really changes a ton. I know Jalen Williams had a pretty big game recently, went for 38 DK points against Memphis. He played 34 minutes. I think he did start that game, and if he were to start again, I think he would be in play for value today. We'll have to kind of see what value we get as the day goes on, but if no value opens up, I think I would be okay with Jalen Williams as a value. His minutes should be pretty secure while Poku, Mann, Baisley are all out, and obviously they're all out today. So I think Jalen Williams is probably my next favorite play in this game behind SGA. But that's really it. We can go ahead and move on to the next one, talk about the Warriors and the Pelicans. So the Warriors, they are one of the teams on a back-to-back today. We'll have to keep an eye on their injury report. We have seen the Warriors rest a lot of guys on back-to-backs. I know there was one game recently. I think it was actually when last time they played the Pelicans, they rested all their starters. Not saying they're going to do that today, but we'll definitely need to keep an eye on the injury report. I'm almost certain Klay Thompson won't play today. I don't think Klay Thompson has played on a back-to-back yet this season. He had a really big game on Sunday night against Houston. He put up 41 points. It was by far his best game of the season, but he played 36 minutes, so I think it's pretty likely Klay Thompson doesn't play today. So with Klay Thompson likely to be out, that should benefit a guy like Jordan Poole. I think Jordan Poole is going to be a pretty popular play today, assuming Klay Thompson does sit. Pretty much every game Poole has started this season, he's been pretty good. Last time he started was against San Antonio. That was a game that Klay Thompson sat. 29 minutes for Poole in a blowout win, 52 Draftkings points. I know there was another game earlier this year against the Pelicans. That was the game when they rested everybody. And then there was another game against Detroit. This game, Poole started 36 minutes, 44 DK points. yeah, 5,800. I think Poole's going to project as a pretty good option today. Obviously assuming Clay sits, and if Clay does sit, you could expect a little bit more usage for guys like Steph, for Wiggins. Don't know if it really affects Draymond much at all, but I think Steph at 10,600 is viable. Tougher matchup against the Pelicans. Pelicans are kind of a solid defensive team. Herb Jones is a really good defender. I'm guessing Herb Jones will be guarding Steph here. But Steph has just been on another level this season. He's been like SGA, just crushing no matter what the matchup is. Had a huge game against Houston on Sunday night. Would not be surprised if he had another good game here. I think Steph is still in play. He's basically, at this point, I think he might be matchup proof. He probably already was matchup proof, but with how well he's played this year, I think Steph is pretty much going to be viable no matter who he's going up against. And Steph is normally not a guy that I ever pay up for, but this season, he's been rebounding a lot more. He's been getting a lot of assists. He's been much more of, he's been a guy that has flashed way more upside just because he's not as scoring dependent as he used to be. He's been getting like triple doubles this season. So I definitely think Steph is a strong pay up option here. Zion is probable, so he's expected to play. With Zion probable, I'm not loving a ton on the Pelicans. I will say that the matchup is pretty good. Like the Warriors defense has actually kind of been bad this year, and the Warriors are still playing at the fastest pace in the league. So wouldn't be surprised if one of these Pelicans do well, like a Zion or Brandon Ingram. I think Zion would be my favorite if I had to go to one of them. I think last time these teams played, Zion did play. He wasn't great, just 22 DK points in 28 minutes, but I definitely think this is kind of a solid matchup for him. I think Zion's fine. Ingram and McCollum are okay, but I'm not super interested. Wiggins is viable. I know he had a pretty good game Sunday against Houston. 34 DK points, 37 minutes. We haven't seen the same upside from Wiggins that we saw a lot like last season, especially in the playoffs, but he's still playing big minutes, and I think with Clay most likely sitting today, that will benefit Wiggins. But that's probably it for this game. Like I really don't see a ton else I'm liking. J-Val, the Warriors have been giving up fancy points to centers this year, but I don't know if this is the best spot for J-Val. His minutes were way down last time they played Golden State. His minutes in general have just been all over the place this season. He's a really tough guy to trust. Draymond at 6,100 feels priced about right. Again, not expecting Clay to play. I think Poole's a really good option. And that's probably it for this game. Herb Jones, they're probably going to want his defense on Steph. There's a good chance Herb Jones matches Steph's minutes. So, we might see Herb Jones play 35, 36 minutes here at 4,700. He's an okay value play, but we might get some better value as the day goes on. I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game. We got a few more to go over. So, Portland and Milwaukee. Starting off at the top here with Giannis. I think Giannis, one of the better pay-up options on the slate. I know he's not been good lately. He's been pretty unproductive these last few games. 40, 41, 43, 52 DK points. I don't think that really matters. The game log doesn't look good, but we know Giannis still has massive upside. We know the usage is going to be great. He's going to stuff the stat sheet when he's on the floor. I don't think Portland really has anyone defensively that can slow down Giannis here. Portland's been a good team this year, but this is a spot where Giannis could have plenty of success. I think if you're looking for strong pay-up options, Giannis is clearly at the top of the board. His floor is just so high. At this point, a 45, 50-point game from Giannis is bad. I mean, that just shows how high his floor is. So I think Giannis is obviously firmly in play today. But we definitely want to talk about some Portland guys because Damian Lillard is already out for this game. I think he's going to be out for a couple weeks. So without Damian Lillard, we kind of know who benefits here. Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, all these guys benefit. Nurkic, don't know if his role changes too much without Dame, but I think he's viable as well. Anthony Simons, though, should be the biggest beneficiary without Dame. We should obviously see Simons handle the ball a lot. His usage rate should be up. He's had some really big games in the past whenever Dame has been out. The price tag is $7,400. I think it's still viable. I don't think this is too high of a price tag for Simons. If he was over $8K, then I would be a little bit hesitant, but I think it's $7,400. Simons still looks like a really good play today without Damian Lillard. Obviously, tougher matchup. He probably will be guarded by Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's a really good defender. In general, the Bucks have been one of the best defensive teams this season. So I don't think the matchup's good by any means, but Simons is just going to have so much usage. He's going to take so many shots. The ball's just going to be in his hands a ton that I still think he's got the upside here. So I'm definitely interested in Anthony Simons. Obviously, made him the cover boy for today. But Drew at 8,300, not super interested in. His first game back from injury, he didn't play a ton of minutes. I would definitely be a little bit hesitant on Drew until we see the production kind of come back to normal. Obviously, he is coming back from injury. The rest of the Portland guys like Grant, Nurkic, Josh Hart, I think they're all viable. I would definitely say Simons is my favorite of all the Portland guys, but Grant, Nurkic, and Hart should all get a little boost here without Dame, and they're definitely in play. Probably would limit to I wouldn't be playing all these guys in one lineup, but I think if you want to play one or two Portland guys in a lineup, I think that's totally fine. But the rest of Milwaukee, Portis and Brook Lopez, I'm not interested in. The rest of these guys Javon Carter, Grayson Allen. I mean, it's a hard pass here. So in general, I think, on the Milwaukee side, I really like Giannis. He's firmly in play. Pretty much every slate he's in play. And then for Portland, obviously a lot of interest in Anthony Simons. I think Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart, Yusuf Nurkic, all viable plays as well. But I think that does it for Portland. Or do want to mention Shaedon Sharpe. So last time Damian Lillard was out earlier this season, we did see Shaedon Sharpe start. Now Shaedon Sharpe, even in the games he started, he was not super productive. But I'm guessing he would start here. He's only 3,800. I think he is going to be a pretty good value play for today. Again, I don't expect him to go out there and put up 40 DraftKings points, but if he's starting, I think we can project him for at least like mid to high 20s minutes. He's only 3,800. He's definitely a good value today. So I did want to mention Shaedon Sharpe for value. But let's go ahead and move on to the last two games of the day or of the night. We got Miami and Minnesota. So on Minnesota, I'm not liking much on Minnesota. Just go ahead and say that. It's a tougher matchup here against Miami. I think if I had to go to anyone on Minnesota, it probably would be like Rudy Gobert. I mean, 6,600 for Rudy Gobert does feel really cheap. I know his production has been really bad lately. He's just not been super productive. It's not the best matchup either against Miami, but 6,600 for Gobert, that's a price tag I can definitely get behind. D'Angelo Russell, his production has been all over the place this season. His price tag's also kind of down, though, to 6,100. Miami is a team that does give up a lot of three-pointers, so I think this sets up as a kind of a good matchup for D'Angelo Russell. I think he will have a lot of open looks from three. Same could be said for Anthony Edwards, but if I had to roster anyone on Minnesota, Rudy Gobert is my favorite at 6,600. And then on the Miami side, it's just kind of a wait and see right now for Miami. So Miami's been dealing with a lot of injuries lately. Jimmy Butler, I think, is already going to be out for this game. We'll have to see if Tyler Hero plays. He did not play Sunday. Obviously, this is a back-to-back for Miami. So maybe probably no Butler. Don't know about Hero yet. But Bam played on Sunday. We'll have to see if he plays on the back-to-back. Obviously, he's coming back from an injury. He only played 27 minutes, though, Sunday. The Heat did get blown out against Cleveland. So I think because they got blown out and their minutes were limited, most likely we'll see all these guys play, like Bam and Lowry and everyone else. Gabe Vincent was questionable Sunday. He did not play, so we'll have to see if he plays here. But starting, mainly want to talk about Miami. So on the Miami side, I think Bam's usage is going to be really good, assuming Butler and Hero are both out. He was pretty productive in the limited minutes he played. It was a tough matchup, too, against Cleveland, but he did have 33 DK points in 27 minutes. Obviously, this matchup against Gobert is not the best, but I still think at 8K, Bam is firmly in play here, and he's definitely viable, assuming Butler and Hero are both out. Same could be said for Lowry. We obviously saw Lowry on Friday night have that massive game when they only had 7 active players. Well, obviously, Sunday they had more bodies. Lowry's minutes weren't as high. They got blown out. His production was way down. I think Lowry's still okay today if Butler and Hero are both out, but I wouldn't be running to roster him, obviously assuming Bam plays. And then Strus and Martin, I think are priced correctly, especially now that Bam is back. Do want to talk about Nikola Jovic. So Jovic did start on Sunday. He started alongside Bam. I'm guessing Jovic would start again if Hero remains out. So if they do start Jovic again at the 4, he got 32 minutes. I think he did play in the blowout as well. His minutes would be pretty secure here, I think. Probably at least 28 to 30 minutes for Jovic if he's starting. And at 4K as a value play, I'm definitely interested in Jovic today. But that's really it for Miami. I don't really see anything else I'm liking here, but we're going to have to pay attention to their injury report because obviously back-to-back guys have been coming back from injury. I wouldn't be surprised if you do see some of these guys get listed questionable or maybe some of them wind up sitting, so we'll have to monitor that. But let's talk about the last game of the night. We got one late-night hammer, Utah and LA, the Clippers. So looking at the Clippers today, Paul George is questionable. This is going to be one of the big injuries to monitor throughout the day. It's the only late night game, so I don't know if we're going to have this news before lock. We might kind of be waiting around after lock for this news. But even if Paul George gets ruled out, I don't think it's going to change a ton because with Kawhi Leonard back, that does kind of muddy up things a little bit. Kawhi's been he's been limited. He did start last game that he played, so he's going to start, but I don't think he's going to play a ton of minutes. I think he's most likely going to be capped in the mid-20s in minutes. They're not going to play Kawhi 36 minutes. Probably they might not play him 36 minutes the entire season. Maybe in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. So while Kawhi is limited, even if Paul George is out today, I wouldn't be running to roster Kawhi because clearly there's a cap on him right now, and his production's also been it's been down so far. I'm sure he's going to have a good game at some point, but not super interested in Kawhi. If Paul George does sit, I don't know if it changes Zubac's role that much, but definitely would benefit guys like Marcus Morris, John Wall, Reggie Jackson. Now, Marcus Morris is 6K, so I think this is an appropriate price tag. Even if Paul George sits, I'm not really excited about Marcus Morris. John Wall has flashed some upside this season. I think he would be kind of interesting if Paul George is out. And then Reggie Jackson, he's been all over the place this year. He's pretty cheap. His production's been better the last few games. I think at 5,100, I'd be a little bit interested in Reggie Jackson. And then if Paul George were to sit, I don't know who would start. It probably would be Norman Powell, but there's a lot of guys they could start in place of PG. They could start John Wall alongside Reggie Jackson. Normally Luke Kennard would start, but obviously he's out right now. So like if Norman Powell were to start in place of Paul George, he's only 4,300. I think he would definitely be in play for value. But it's kind of a wait and see right now. It's a tough team to break down. If Paul George plays, then I'm not really looking to a ton of Clippers today, especially with Paul George price where he is, plus with Kawhi back. I'm not super interested in either one of those guys. The rest of the Clippers would not really be that appealing if Paul George is in. I will say that Zubac, I think regardless, is kind of in play just because this is a matchup that we've seen centers be able to do really well against the Jazz this season. They've been giving up, I think, the most points in the paint this year. They've been giving up a lot of fancy points to opposing centers. Zubac's production's kind of been all over the place, but his minutes have been pretty secure. He's been getting about 32, 34 minutes in close games. Obviously, last game was a blowout, but that game against Detroit, I think that game might have went to overtime, but he played 40 minutes in that game. So if we can get like 34, 35 minutes here from Zubac against a Jazz team that's given up a lot of fancy points to centers this year, that's just been really bad defensively against bigs, I think it's a pretty good matchup for Zubac. I think his ownership will be fairly low for today. So I'm definitely interested in Zubac regardless of if Paul George is in or out. But got to wait and see here with the Clippers. And then on the other side with the Jazz, I do want to mention that Mike Conley is going to be out for this game. So that does open up some value from Utah and definitely makes some guys look interesting. I think Lauri Markkanen at 7,800 feels priced about right. And I don't know if he gets like a massive bump with Conley out, but I definitely think it benefits Jordan Clarkson. And it's 6,400. Have a lot of interest in Jordan Clarkson today. I think he's one of the better plays in the mid-range. And then I think there's going to be value from Utah. Without Mike Conley, last time Mike Conley was out, we did see Colin Sexton start. So I'm guessing Colin Sexton will start today. He's only 4,400. His minutes have not been super high this season. They've kind of been keeping him like in the high 20s, even like when he's playing really well. But I think last time he started, he did play, let's see, it was this game against Memphis. He did play 32 minutes, and he had 29 DK points, was pretty productive. At just 4,400, I definitely like Colin Sexton for value today with Conley out. And then I think you'll see more minutes off the bench for guys like Malik Beasley, Taylor Horton-Tucker, maybe Nickeil Alexander-Walker plays a little bit more. Last time Mike Conley was out, we did see Nickeil Alexander-Walker just kind of come out of nowhere, played 21 minutes and was really productive. So that could happen if you want to take like a large field dart throw on NAW. I don't hate it. But I think the biggest beneficiaries off the bench will definitely be Beasley and THT. Beasley's been getting good minutes regardless, and I think his minutes should be even more secure now that Conley is out, and his production's also been pretty good as well. And then THT, he's been playing anywhere from like mid-teens to low 20s minutes. Last game he got 32 minutes. Wouldn't expect 32 minutes again, but I think 22 to 24 seems pretty likely for THT here. 3,700, definitely in play for value if you're looking for like a lower owned value play. But that's probably it for Utah. The bigs from Utah like Jared Vanderbilt, Kelly Olynyk, I'm not really looking to here. So I think that does it for this team, and I think that does it for this game, guys. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you guys did enjoy it. These DFS videos do help you out. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you're new to the channel, check out PrizePicks. They're the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. Definitely check out PrizePicks if you guys have not yet. I should have a PrizePicks video posted for today for NBA. Obviously, I didn't make any videos over the weekend, but I was away on Saturday. Didn't have a ton of time to really make many videos. But I should be back with a PrizePicks video for today, so I'll be sharing some plays I like for PrizePicks. If you want to check that video out, should be posted sometime on the channel, probably sometime Monday morning. Check that one out if you want some plays I like for PrizePicks today. But best of luck on the slate, guys. Thanks as always for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.